Hello everyone, and welcome to the Week 9 edition of the Wilkes-Journal Patriot's High School Football Rundown presented by Cooks and produced by RiverStreet Productions. I'm sports editor Zach Colburn, and assistant sports editor Brandon Moree will be joining us in just a second to take a closer look at this week's games. For the third straight week, Wilkes County teams went 4-0 in Mountain Valley Athletic Conference play, including a pair of close calls. Brandon's got more of those games over at the big board.
All right, that's right. It was another 4-0 perfect week for Wilkes County teams, and the game of the week this week is again the Blackhawks because they were in a close call. They pulled out a 38-35 win in Elkin on Friday night. You're seeing Alex Ortiz there at quarterback. Normally Trenton Walsh is there. He was out with an ankle injury. Hope to see him back real soon, but Ortiz had a big game in his absence. He had 4 total touchdowns, 2 rushing and 2 passing, including the one we just saw to Jake Boyles there. That was his first touchdown pass of the year and Boyles' first touchdown catch. Elkin had 2 chances late in the game. The first one was derailed by that Cole Smith interception right there. And then later in the fourth, they're going to have a completion on the sideline there, but West Wilkes is going to knock it loose, and Jacob Dyer dives on the fumble recovery. West Wilkes would run out the clock from there to seal that 3-point win. They are still 3-1 in the conference right now, 6-2 overall. Good start for the Blackhawks. All right, Ortiz, 5 for 8 for 91 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had 23 carries for 69 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Noah Dancy had his 3rd consecutive 100-yard rushing game as he had 22 carries for 116 yards. He also had a catch for 2 yards. And Cole Smith and Jake Boyles also had touchdown catches. We saw Jake's. We saw an interception from Cole Smith there. All right, in Moravian Falls on Friday night, it was homecoming, and Wilkes Central squeaked by Allegheny 35-34. It was 2 teams with completely different offensive styles. Allegheny controlled the tempo. They ran that option attack. They controlled the clock. Wilkes Central was scoring quickly. Their longest scoring drive of the game was 6 plays. And their only touchdown in the 4th quarter, which turned out to be a huge one, was this 83-yard kickoff return from Justin Parsons. Allegheny scored with 10 seconds left in the game to draw within 1 point. They went for 2 and the win, and the Wilkes Central defense stepped up, made a huge play. Dedrick Smith with the tackle there, did let him in, sealed the win, 35-34. Wilkes Central still 4-0 in the conference, atop the conference standings, tied with East Wilkes. For the game for Allegheny, Caleb Redd, 41 carries, 196 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He also had 3 catches for 35 yards. For Wilkes Central, Justin Parsons had another big game on just 12 carries. He had 163 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had 89 return yards in that 1 touchdown. We saw Camden Wyatt went 8 for 12 for 111 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. We saw the first touchdown to JoJo Horton there a little bit earlier. All right, out in Hayes, North Wilkes picked up a big-time win as they took care of Starmount 49-20, and guess what? Yeah, Jared Grimes, another big game. He's had a big game every game this year, it feels like. He certainly had another one on Friday night. He ran for more than 200 yards, including that touchdown right there. We saw that was in the 3rd quarter from 37 yards out. That one right there was also in the 3rd quarter a little bit later from 15 yards out. All right, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about Ethan Brown and Kobe Brown. That's Ethan Brown right there on a naked bootleg out to the backside. Nobody going to get there. That came in the 4th quarter, a 16-yard run. Both Ethan and Kobe have had a great run on the varsity team after being bumped up from the JV team. They're still around, even though Daniel Pruitt and Cedric White, who they were replacing, have returned from injury. It seems like they're starting to build some chemistry. All right, Pruitt had 2 catches for 50 yards and 1 carry for 6. Grimes, like we said, over 200 yards. He had 226 on 36 carries and 4 touchdowns. No surprise there. Ethan Brown went 3 for 4 for 74 yards passing. He also had 53 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. All right, we don't have any highlights from East Wilkes' win up at Ashe County, but we will break down the stats for you. Hopefully we'll get East Wilkes on here next week. I know it's been a couple of weeks, so we're looking forward to having some of their highlights back on here. Austin Jolly, 10 carries, 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had a 58-yard touchdown catch. Javian Ross had 9 carries for 115 yards and a touchdown. Damian Reed had 5 carries for 51 yards and a touchdown. He also had 4 catches for 79 yards and a receiving touchdown. Bryce Vestal, another big game, his 3rd straight week of at least 100 yards passing. He went 7 for 12 for 205 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also had 6 carries for 20 yards and a touchdown on the ground. All right, I think we got all the highlights there. Zach, back to you.
Thanks, Brandon. This coming week, East Wilkes and West Wilkes will return home as they'll host Starmount and Allegheny respectively, while North Wilkes and Wilkes Central will hit the road to Ashe County and Elkin respectively. But before we go, we want to send you off with this week's Play of the Week presented by RiverStreet Productions. Brandon, let's see it.
All right, I was just talking about Kobe and Ethan Brown. We're going to see Kobe field the punt here on his own 45, maybe 46-yard line. He makes one cut inside. He breaks an arm tackle there from Star Mountain defender, and then he is off to the races for that 55-yard punt return. He's having a good couple of weeks on the varsity team. It's good to see the Vikings see some success this year. All right, Zach, send us home.
Okay, this has been the Week 9 edition of the Wilkes-Journal Patriots High School Football Rundown presented by Cooks. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at WJP_sports, and we'll see you on Friday night.